Now, with that said, we want to look at 4 stages, okay? 4 stages that would help us to choose a good career path. Now, like I said, this is the B part, the question B part that we're trying to answer now. And this model is adapted from Glenor School District, which is in Wisconsin. And I love their model because it's very straightforward and it helps us to understand some few things. And the model, the stages is also explained in the subsequent slide, which you'll see very soon. Now, the first stage, it says, who am I? Okay, so I want you to keep these 4 stages in mind. The first one is know, the second is explore, third is plan, and 4 is goal. So if at the end of this presentation you forget everything, remember, know, explore, plan, and go. Know, explore, plan, and go. Know, explore, plan, and go. So there's 4 steps. Please remember those. Now, when we say know, what are we talking about? So know is focusing on you, okay? Just like we discussed a while ago, know is focusing on you. Get to know your interests, get to know your skills and your strength, like we said earlier. And some of the questions that will help you to do that is, what am I good at? So you can start writing a personal reflective message about what you are good at. That can just be the topic. What am I good at? You know, it's going to force you to look at your skills, your talent, your abilities, and as well as your challenges. And another question is, what have people told me that I'm good at? Maybe if you want to focus on yourself, you might not want to do that, because for some people it's hard for them to think about themselves in that light. But you want to think about, what do people say or tell me that I'm good at? And the third question, what have my teachers, middle schoolers, and my professors, college student, what have they told me that I'm good at? When I write an essay, what are some of the things they tell me that I'm good at? So pay attention. And if you have not been paying attention, this will be a good time for you to start paying attention to some of the things. When people give you compliment, don't just take it lightly. Thank them and then note it and pay attention to those. Now, some of the areas that maybe you and I, may be good at and we haven't really taken notes may include subject matter and maybe English, science, math, and what have you. If you are good at, don't just say, oh, I'm just lucky with math, or I'm just lucky with science. No, it doesn't come natural and easy to everyone. So if it comes to you that easily, then pay attention to it, okay? Public speaking, relational skills, how you relate with people, how you relate to your environment. Maybe you are good with your hands. Some people are really good at sewing. Some people are really good at poetry making. Some people are really, good at putting things together. So maybe you are good with your hands. Or maybe you have music abilities. You have security abilities, mechanical abilities, or marketing abilities. You have negotiation skills. You are able to talk to people and get things done. Okay, or maybe you are good at with robotics, technical know-how. Naturally, some people are able to fix things without a manual. You give it to them and you tell them, okay, this is how it looks like. Without a manual, they can fix it. For some of us, unfortunately, even with a manual, we cannot. We still have to call the expert in. So if those skills comes natural to you, don't take it for granted. Those are areas that you need to pay attention to. Okay, and besides this general personal skills, there are some general skills that regardless of which area you want to go to, you still need to have. So for example, we have analytical thinking and critical thinking skills. Regardless of what area you want to go to, you need to have those skills. problem solving skills, and attention to details. Okay. So regardless of your career path, regardless of what you want to do from middle school, high school, professionals, these are the general skills that we need to really learn. Now, my middle schoolers, you're going to ask me, how do I do that? It's not too early to start developing critical thinking skills or analytical thinking skills. And this is when you think things a little bit more deeper. Okay, you don't just look at the surface level. You try to discern a little bit more. You go beyond the surface, what is giving you. And you can do that by intentionally looking at articles and having a critical writing skills, developing that. And problem solving skills, regardless of which focus group you are in tonight, we all need to learn how to problem solve. And if you're a middle schooler, like I said, it's not too early to start developing those skills. Now, sometimes we try to separate home from school, but unfortunately, most of these skills can be learned from home as well. If you have a problem at home, if you have a problem with a sibling, and you are able to use your negotiation skills, you are able to use your public speaking and relational skills, and you are able to problem solve that, don't take that for granted. Pay attention to how you do it. And as the more you pay attention to that, the more you get better with those skills. And professionals, if you are already working like myself, it is not too late. There are so many different stages where we can problem solve, and we can become critical thinkers even in the job and paying attention to details. So these are the general skills that regardless of what you want to do, regardless of where you want to go, you need to still pay attention to those skills and develop them. Okay. So the 4 stages, remember: know, explore, plan, and go. And we're going to look at these stages in details. The graph simply shows the second one, where do I want to go from here. So after I have understood who I am, what my skills are, interests are, challenges are, what do I do with it? Okay, well, that's what we're going to talk about. You intentionally, a middle schooler, you intentionally learn your general skills, and as you transition from middle school to high school, you have a plan of, okay, if I go to high school, maybe these are going to be my courses, this is going to be my elective, this is going to be my major. So it's never too early to start planning once you know what your interests are and your skills are. College level, once you understand who you are, your skills, it's important for you to plan, explore the courses in the areas of your choice. You don't just go to college and start picking choices, your minors and courses, so that when you get to maybe 2nd or 3rd grade, now you're going to be thinking about your electives. No. You have to think of your electives right from the get-go. And one thing to help you do that is you have to meet with your career planner or career counselors right on your first semester. Some people might think, well, I'm just a freshman. What do I know? I just want to take time, learn about the campus and environment. That's good. I encourage you to do that. But at the same time, meet with your career counselor very early. Have a better understanding of the faculty in which you are in. Have a better understanding of, the various pathways in your faculty, and start planning the courses that you need to do. Okay. And then once you have a better understanding of all that, the planning can also include maybe financial resources, how much is going to take you to end, how many years of schooling is going to take you. Once you have everything, then you're confident to move forward in choosing a career pathway. So we want to look at these 4 stages in details, okay? Now, we're talking about self-awareness, and like I said, we've asked ourselves all those questions. So the question is, how can I, or what can I do to help me have a better understanding of who I am? And as I mentioned earlier, you can start writing personal reflection essays. You can just take some time and write personal reflection essays on area of interest, challenges, what's difficult, what is not, what is challenging. And as you do that, you begin to pay attention to yourself more and more. I always tell my Sunday school class, and and sometimes people that I meet that don't do things aimlessly. Don't do things aimlessly. Put some thought into it. So even if you're trying to study who you are, don't do it aimlessly. Put some thought into it. And you can do that by writing personal reflection essays, identifying your strength and identifying your needs. Okay. For example, if I want to be an ER nurse and I have shortcomings or difficulty with science, what do I need to do to get better at science so that I can be an ER nurse? And even with an ER nurse, you know, like in nursing, we have so many pathways. What kind of nursing do I want to be? What kind of nurse do I want to be? And what do I need to become that nurse? Okay, so those are all self-awareness activities that you can engage in. Setting personal goals. After you understand yourself, with my negotiation skills, with my knowledge in mathematics, what do I want to be? Okay, so that's where the career path comes in, setting personal goals. And my middle schoolers, at this age, your brain is still developing. So as you age and as you grow and explore new opportunities and you become exposed to new environment and activities, it may shift your focus a little bit. It may shift your goal a little bit. That's all right. And if you have awareness of who you are, your skills, your talent, your abilities, when you are shifting, you have awareness that you're shifting. You know you're shifting. But if you don't have those goals, if you don't understand those goals and you're shifting, you lose track of who you are. And some people would say, oh, when they went from middle school to high school, they had a complete personality change. Or when they went from high school to college, they had a complete personality change. And then you're struggling to find out, where did I lose me? What happened to me? So like I said, it is not early to start thinking about who you are, your interests, skills, abilities, and areas, so that as you are exposed to different abilities, when your goals are shifting, when your career goals are shifting, you are able to understand why they're shifting, and you are able to know what you need to make that shift smoother. Okay. So those are personal awareness. And part of that personal awareness, as we talked about, come with the academic preparation. So if I want to be an ER nurse, like I was giving an example, do I need a graduate degree? Do I need a GED? Okay. For example, for those of us who are good with our hands, you may not necessarily need a graduate degree. If you want to be a mechanic, you may not necessarily need a graduate degree. Maybe you might need a GED, and then you might need some short courses to write a professional exams in that area to become a certified mechanic. So you have to understand, that's why it's important to understand what your abilities are, what your skills are. And then that will help you guide you to the career path so that you don't end up wasting time. Okay, some people will go to school, get all the degrees, and then later in life they realize this is not what I really wanted to do. So the sooner you begin to pay attention to yourself, your abilities, your skills, is going to help you choose the right career. So academic preparation, how long, how much? Do I need to get a student loan? Do I need to work with people who are already in the field, and what skills do I need that I don't have right now? So if you're able to understand the preparation or what comes with the preparation, then like we said before, you don't just get a job, but you intentionally pick an activity or a job that will help you acquire the skills that you need. Okay, so remember we said know, explore, plan, and go. So let's talk about explore. So now that I know myself, now that I have my personal goals, now that I have a fair idea of what my career path is or what I want to do, then explore. What do I need to explore? Okay, there are so many different career settings and different career instruments that can help you to do that. Now, for those of us in middle school, high school, sometimes they have professional development day, where you have people come in to speak to you, just a way of exposing you to what is out there and the type of jobs that people do. So when people come in, don't just listen and sit, no. But once you have understanding of who you are, what you want to do, when the professional comes on campus to talk about what they do, listen in and try to see what skills you need. College level, you have job fairs. Even if you're not looking for a job, I strongly encourage you to attend. If you're not looking for a job, and next time you hear that there's a job fair on campus, please, 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 please make it a point to attend, because the job fair exposes you to the trend of the new jobs that are in our dispensation. Maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago, those jobs were not relevant. But the career fairs expose you to what people are looking for. And once you have that fair idea, you can also kind of look at where you are in reference to what is needed in our dispensation and what is needed in the market. So exploring your activities. I know some people have requirement for internship as part of their training at the college level. Intentionally choose internships, okay, or externship, meaning outside of campus, that will help you to zero in on the very skills that are necessary to be successful in your job. So again, choose activities, internship, externships that are aligned to your area of interest. Now, volunteering, some people may say, I'm not going to be paid for it. It's true. You volunteer, you may not be paid for it. But think about it this way. Think about it as an investment, okay, which is aligning you to your future goals. If you think about it that way and you are not being paid right now, someday it's going to pay off. Even if it's 5 hours a week in your area of interest, even if it's 5 hours a week and you want to volunteer, just imagine first year you decide to volunteer in your area of interest, 5 hours a week. By the time you get to level 400, or you're a senior, you can imagine how many hours you've acquired. And then when you write your resume, you can say volunteering hours in this field. Even though you were not paid for it, but it becomes a seed of investment in your area of interest. And sometimes volunteering experience is the one thing that separates you from the other many applicants in your job. Because everyone has the same degree. You have the same courses. What stands out? What makes you stand out is the intentional activities and jobs that you have selected to help you develop the skills that you are required to have in your career. So if you have volunteer opportunities, please don't throw them out. Pay attention to them, okay? And even if you don't have volunteer opportunities, please look for them. Look for them. Those are the things that makes us stand out. So remember, know, explore, plan, and go. So plan, what are we talking about? So planning means that we have to engage in activities that will help us to succeed and ranch in our career. For example, how to write a resume, how to write a cover letter. Some of these things may not necessarily be taught in school, but it's very important that you take time aside and you learn how to do those. My middle school schoolers who are transitioning to high school, sometimes you have opportunities to visit those high school campuses, to meet some of the teachers and also to look into their classrooms. It's very important that you pay attention when you are doing all those visits. You pay attention. Maybe in a school you may have about 10, or 10, I can think 10 is too much, maybe 5 math teachers. You want to pay attention to who teaching style will best meet your need. because sometimes depending on your tutor, you can be more motivated or less motivated. So it's also very important that you pay attention to those. High schoolers transitioning to college, you have campus visits. Pay attention. When you're writing out application to campuses and schools, don't just select schools. Okay, don't just select courses, but you want to pay attention to what are my skills, what are my abilities, what are my challenges, my shortcomings, financial resources that would help me to attain my career. Okay, so it's very important that when you are doing applications and all that, you pay attention to that. So that is planning. Okay, planning. There's a lot more to talk about, but I'm hoping that, as I have the slide on the screen, you can be looking at those and you can be writing some notes down. So planning, don't just go to school. Financially, you have to plan it out too. If you have to, apply for scholarships, if you have to apply for the government grant and whatnot, pay attention to those. And personally, I want to encourage you personally, okay? There are so many private scholarships on campus, undergrad, grad, it doesn't matter. There's so many scholarships. And sometimes you may look at a scholarship and the scholarship is like, oh, maybe 500 or 1,000. Don't let that discourage you. Go through the process, because if you end up getting those skills of writing for scholarships, it will help you someday to write for grant. And those skills are also going to help you to get even better scholarship. If you get a $500 worth of scholarship, next time they look at what you've already got, and then they might not repeat the same scholarship again, but you get even bigger or higher. And personally, as an international student, I said I relied on scholarship throughout, and by the grace of God, both my husband and I graduated with our PhD without owing a dime to the school. And as a matter of fact, my final year, the school owed me $1,000 and they sent me a check. So it's hard work, but look at scholarship opportunities on campus and keep writing. One best place to look at is your school library. Go to the librarian, ask them for the link for private scholarships. They can be, past student or who are donating to the school, and then just look at which one is applicable to you and write them. And don't forget, we're saying no, explore, plan, and go. So the goal part, we are looking at, modifying your activities and your career goals. Don't be stuck. The fact that I want to be a doctor, even when things are not working right. You want to modify your goals as you go along, okay? You want to be a mechanical engineer, but at some point, the higher you go, the mathematics becomes complex and difficult, and you feel like, no, I'm not getting it. You have options. Do I find somebody to help me with that? Or do I modify my career goal to find something within the same field that may not necessarily be mechanical engineering? So modify your goals, right? From middle, high, college, professionals, it is never early, never late to modify your goals and revise them as and when you need it, okay? And I promise you, this is like one of the last 2 slides, and then we'll have room for questions. Now, this slide, I adapted it from the University of Minnesota, and I like the way they kind of give you a visual of the different career path. Now, if you look at the inner ring cycle, you look at the foundation, knowledge, and skills, okay? And it contains some of the things that we talk about, like critical thinking, problem solving abilities, like subject areas, math, science, English, and all that. And then if you look at the projected outward ring, if you look at the rays that we have there, I think I can use this. So if you look at this area, okay, let me use this area as an example. A pathway in agriculture will look like this. Maybe you have interest in agriculture, but you don't really know what other pathway there is. So you can have maybe animal science, environmental services, food product and processing systems, natural resources systems, plant systems. So these are examples of the different pathways that exist, okay? Now let's look at the rate of marketing, sales, and service. You can have buying and merchandising, distribution, and logistics. You can have e-marketing, management and entrepreneurship. You can have marketing, communication, and promotion. So like I was encouraging my college student and my grad student, make sure you pay attention to the different pathways that is in your faculty, okay? So that when your major choice of career path, the courses that you're doing is becoming difficult, or you feel like, I'm failing, don't beat yourself down. There are so many different pathways within the same faculty that you can make a successful switch and still graduate on time and still be successful. So just pay attention to those areas. And if you look at the area of human services, you have different areas. You have law, public safety, corrections, and security, like we talked about. And you also have human services, where you can look at consumer sciences, you can look at counseling and mental health services, like I ended up doing. You can also look at early childhood development and services and all that. And underneath those broad umbrella, you also have government and public administration. You also have education and training. Okay. And then last but not the least, when you look at the health sciences and technology, you have so many different areas. You have diagnostic services, support services, you have health informatics, and also in mathematics, I know some people have industrial math, which is a very lucrative job right now. In terms of cybersecurity, that's also another lucrative job, and a very up and coming area that most people are also getting into now. So it's very, very important that you explore your faculty, what you have, okay? And with that, like I said, I promise you that was one of the last slides, so that we can have room for questions. All right, thank you.